Hello everyone, welcome back. Lionheart here. It is chapter 3 of the journey story for Dandelion, featuring Dijkstra and also Isengrim. Now last week, we found out that a lady named Iriana, who I'm assuming is Dijkstra's daughter, is missing and in a little bit of trouble with the Church of the Eternal Fire. I'm really enjoying this story so far, and I'm hyped to get into chapter 3. So, my friends, we are going to dive straight in. If you do enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking as well. A like goes a very long way after all. It helps the algorithm. And do leave a comment. Let me know where you think this is going. Do you agree with me? Do you think Iriana is in fact Dijkstra's daughter? Or am I completely off? Have you got another theory? If you do, I'd love to hear about it in the comments down below. But, until then, let's get started. Chapter 3. Dijkstra promised that his best man would be at Dandelion's disposal. This man turned out to be the elf. Dandelion and Isengrim started their search in the usual student spots: the Thirsty Scholar, under the Inkwell, the Almanac. Iriana, of course, was recognised in all because she was a frequent visitor, but not today, and not yesterday. Then it was time for the port dives, stinking of Pontar Delta duckweed and longshoreman's sweat, and it turned out that, yes, she'd been seen there but had left. With whom and where to? Dandelion asked, drumming his fingers on the tabletop. I don't recall. The troubadour sighed and reached for his pouch, but before he could do so, Isengrim grabbed the innkeeper by the neck and smashed his face against the counter. With a group of raftsmen from the Merry Widow. They went on that barge of theirs. The innkeeper grabbed his bloodied nose. Please, just leave me be. They went outside into the rain. The elf turned up his collar. Dandelion hugged himself. He shuddered. She was on a bender. May she not pay for it with her health? I wonder what she was looking for in such company. Well, let's find out. The elf took a street lamp and lit it. He headed for the wharf, illuminating the road ahead. The Merry Widow. Yeah, right. It was a nasty combination of shipworm-infested wood and the stench of silt and tar. A canvas covered the deck, and from underneath came the sounds of rattling dice and drunken laughter. One of which was female, distinguished by its melodious timbre. Dandelion furiously pushed ahead. He jumped from the jetty onto the deck with bravado, as if the boat was his own. That's it, Iriana, we're going home. A broad-shouldered rafter blocked his way. And who are you, huh? Get off our barge now, or I'll toss you out by your bootstraps. The troubadour adjusted the lapels on his plum jacket and ran his hand through the feather on his hat, withered from the rain. I am a professor at the academy, Julien de Lettenhoof, and this is my student, one, might I add, that's in a lot of trouble. In response, the rafter pressed his thumb to his nostril, leaned over, and cleared his nose in front of Dandelion's feet. The poet turned purple. Pay attention here, you oaf. My left hand is death, and even I'm afraid of the right one. Isengrim gripped the handle of his knife in one hand, but before any blows were exchanged, Iriana stood up, disentangled herself from the embrace of the sailor. Gentlemen, it is time for me to... She hiccuped loudly. The professor here will escort me to campus. Thanks for the moonshine and the game. Until next time. Farewelled by moans of disappointment, she left the deck, tripping over ropes and oars on the way. Isengrim had to catch her as she stumbled onto the pier. They walked in gloomy silence, threshing through mud left by the storm. An anger was churning up deep in Dandelion's stomach. Eventually, the poet exploded. Fistek, what's got into you, girl? Iriana stopped short. How did you know? They found it in your chambers under the couch. Have you lost your mind? She moved her lips silently. The drink still hummed in her head. It's not like that, Professor. And how is it? Dandelion shouted. Somewhere on the street, a child woke up and cried. A district away, dogs started barking, and overhead, a woman glared out of a window. Shut it, would you? We're trying to get some sleep here. Then eat some strychnine. Dandelion was trembling with anger, and a little mean. Isengrim put a hand on his shoulder. Come on. We'll find a more secluded place. Let the damsel sober up. She sat with a mug of hot brew on Dandelion's bed. The flush had disappeared from her cheeks and lucidity had returned to her eyes. Ever since the rector admitted the clergy to campus, things have been bad at the university. They want to turn it into a monastery. We are losing our school overnight, and the professors won't do a thing about it. They're all too intimidated. Or too senile. They just go with the flow. What are you, pulling wool over my eyes here? We had to defend ourselves. We took might and matter into our own hands. By dealing drugs? Yes. I mean, no. Dandelion got up, clasped his hands behind his back, and began pacing the creaking floorboards of the room. Isengrim played with his knife, leaning back in his chair at the table. You're going to be expelled. Where did you get Fistek from anyway? We made it. You what? Yeah, me and my friends from the Department of Alchemy. What, booze just isn't cutting it for you anymore? Golden fucking youth. It's not for us, we need the money. The poet wrung his palms together, then made a violent gesture with his outspread hands, as if he wanted to strangle Iriana. With these tricks of yours, you give the ammunition to the priests. They will once again declare that the youth are being corrupted here instead of being properly educated. The elf grunted. Let the child explain herself, Dandelion. You keep interrupting her. The poet gasped, flopped down on the stool, and crossed his arms over his chest. Fine, I'm listening. Look, the censors run our library like a fox through a henhouse. Any incunabula, manuscript, or piece of paper he doesn't like, well, he transfers to a closed collection. What do you think he's doing this? To help us with cataloguing? Dandelion pouted, but Iriana, gaining momentum, didn't allow herself to be interrupted again. The goddamn clown wants to ravage our book collection. That long scroll he carries under his arm is an index of forbidden texts. All items on the list are to be burned. Isengrim chuckled softly. You humans do like to play with fire. Dandelion gave him a sidelong glance. Then he leaned over, rested his elbows on his knees, and looked at Iriana, much calmer now. And you want to stop it? Alone? Well, many students are of the same mind. We conspired to defend Oxenford. We have a plan. We will take the endangered books from the library and move them to a safe location. Temporarily. And where's that? Dandelion asked. On a ship, waiting in the port. However, there's a large amount of books and, well, it'd be contraband, so we need help from professionals. Smugglers. Yes. And you want to pay them with Fistek? Yes. There was a long silence, and then Isengrim finally spoke. We were supposed to get her out of trouble. Iriana raised her chin arrogantly. I will not quit, and I'll see this through. But you have nothing to pay the smugglers with, Dandelion reminded her. The priests have seized your goods. She shrugged. I'll figure something out. These are dangerous people, Dandelion exploded. One false step and they'll cut your throat. Do you even know who to talk to about something like this? Of course, the raftsman told me who to contact. She tapped her finger against the temple. You need to know who to drink with. Isengrim and Dandelion looked at each other. Should we tie her up? I'm not keeping an eye on her, the elf said. You could help me, she suggested brazenly. I cannot imagine that any decent person, especially an academy professor, would be indifferent to the madness of zealots who burn books. Dandelion began combing his hair nervously, and to his horror, he noticed that there was grey hairs left in his hand when he finished. Oh, okay, well I think that about confirms that Iriana is in fact the daughter of Dijkstra, as it was confirmed there that they were supposed to get her out of trouble, and oh boy, do they look like they are even deeper in it. Oxenford students making Fistek to pay smugglers to smuggle books out of Oxenford's library to protect them from being burned. That is not where I thought it would be going when I heard Dandelion Journey. Oh my word. Are they going to help her? How are they going to pay these people? I have a million questions. But those questions will be answered, hopefully, next week. I hope you have all enjoyed this. I love doing these. If you've joined me for the live premiere, I need to express how much it means to me that you chose to spend some time here when this went live. Thank you very much to the few of you that choose to do so. I really appreciate it. If you're watching this at any point, I hope you're enjoying it. Remember, every journey that has ever had a story is on my channel narrated, and I hope you guys love it. I will see you soon. Hopefully I'll find you next week. If you liked the video, please do leave a like. Love you all. See you next time.